Hey everyone, this is episode 43 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you're gonna see that OSG is currently off the screen. That's because he just got sent off with a straight red card, and yeah, it's just unfortunate because now we're down to one a podcast host for the remainder of the episode. So I guess go ahead and start the episode right away if that's okay with you guys. So what we're gonna do today is just pretty much go through the episode, the Dynamo episode, and 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 of course, thankfully, the Dash and Dynamo Two and the Dynamo in the Open Cup got um, their wins in, and yeah. Hey OSG, what are you doing here? Are you bar check? Is
Bar check.
that the bar check?
Bar comes on our side, bro. Hey, rescind the red card. Rescind the red card.
Oh man, yeah. That's If you couldn't tell, we're definitely gonna have a lot of words about the last Dynamo game, and you could definitely say the Open Cup game, and I know, yeah, like it's a lot to talk about, and congrats to the Dash and Dynamo too for carrying us through the weekend, and definitely not the Dynamo. How are you feeling, OSG?
Oh yeah, I'm good, man. It was a busy weekend, like you said, with Dynamo playing on Wednesday and then Dash Friday. All four home games too. Dash Friday, Dynamo Saturday, Dose on Sunday. I didn't go to the Dose game, and I ended up not going to the Dynamo game either, but I did go to the Dash game. So, and then of course I did not go to the weekday game. Of course, it's weekday, but whatever. I'm good. We won 3 out of the 4 games, even though it doesn't feel like we won 3 out of the 4 games this weekend. I guess in the end, when we're going to bed and ready for the next week as we move on. But I'm all right, bro. What's going on with you?
Nothing much. Yeah, just recently just came home celebrating Mother's Day with my mom. She's in town for like the next couple months or so, hopefully, and yeah, it's been pretty fun. Fortunately, I had to miss the Dynamo 2 game because of that, but yeah, just had a pretty good weekend overall, especially that Dash win this past Friday. That one was pretty good, and I'm definitely excited to get into that one. And yeah, like if with all the positive energy out there now, we can definitely get into the negative one to start the episode because oh man, that Houston Dynamo, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, you said it right there. Get into the negative, but I mean, first they won on Wednesday, and then they lost on Saturday. But both games were horrible, horrible play. So that's why you say, yeah, let's get into the negative first, which is the Houston Dynamo and how they like to play soccer right now, or how Ben Olsen likes to play soccer right now. And I'm not been out, but man, I'm this defensive style out. I'm starting to where I can't stand it, and and if it's the actual players that are just maybe I know how systems don't work when because you can change, you can have the same roster, you can play one system, and then you change the system, and then it's the exact same roster. Plays a lot different. Plays like a completely different team. It just depends on the style. So maybe we just have the players that fit the style or what. But it is what it is. But let's start with the positive, which I guess it won't last but 3 seconds. We won 1-0 on Wednesday in the Open Cup. There's the positive. What else is there to talk
Yeah.
about?
Oh man, not much really because the theme this week it was just discipline and the fact that the Dynamo put themselves in this specific situation of missing players and just being against the wall almost the entire time, especially the game against Seattle. Obviously, the game against Kansas City, we won even though we were down a man. But if you watch that game, you can clearly see that Sporting Kansas City were not a pretty good team offensively speaking, and like even with the play disadvantage, Kansas City were getting those chances in that were pretty close to goal, and they were not able to finish anything, and either they were over the bar or like barely getting any shots on target, and, and it was just like either a matter of just not being that lucky, or just being like one of the big issues with the team, as we discussed with a Mike in the previous Insta Ramen, because they're not a pretty offensive team right now, and even though they seem they seem to be like structured, and obviously they had like the plays going, and all that. It's for some reason they were not like attacking as much, even though the Dynamo were against the wall pretty much the entire game. And just going with that and into the Seattle game, I wouldn't necessarily say the same thing, because Seattle is definitely a much better team, and I mean, like the fact that we put ourselves in that position early in the first 20 minutes, we were starting with like 10 players, and just that's pretty much set us back the entire game, obviously. But when in the second half comes in, Achachi gets that red card, and it put us in a worse situation. Like, even though we were having the score at 0 up until the 80th minute, we still look pretty. Um, Defensively, we're looking pretty okay, but Achachi just getting sent off pretty much throughout that result, in my opinion, for Dynamo. And yeah, like it's when you mentioned the thing about like defending Ben Olsen and his style of play, like it's definitely hard to defend, or at least like be in favor of the defensive style of play that he has been applying to this team. But the fact of the matter is, like, at this point, like, we have like an issue with discipline, and Houston has to be patient with the ball, and not just patient with the ball, but also whenever we're trying to get the ball back. Like, I've been noticing these individual mistakes, and just going back to uh, the Open Cup, the last game, and not just as a whole. Like, we've been noticing these like individual, I wouldn't not necessarily like mistakes, but rather like weaknesses, and just because of all these reasons, we're now tied at first in the league in red cards, which is just really disappointing to see. And look, like, it's still very early in the season. There's still a lot that can change, but at the same time, we threw out potentially like 3 points against Seattle. We definitely threw out that extra point that could have been useful in, uh, over 88 minutes, and we definitely got lucky against Kansas City in the Open Cup, because if Kansas City was in a good day, they would have definitely beat us in that specific situation. But no, yeah, I'm just like overall disappointed with Dynamo this week.
Dude, you're not kidding, and you mentioned Ben Olsen and the style again, and people would say like, "Well, pick or choose. You want the offense to work, you want the defense to work." But there's teams out there that get both sides that work the ball. Now, granted, let's give the defense some props. They've been playing excellent defense, even on the road. They've been playing excellent defense. They're under pressure a lot. They're blocking shots. They're being asked to work a lot. And Steve Clark's being asked to work not too often, but he's being asked to make some saves. So the credit to the defense for playing the way they're playing, but we're getting nothing out of the offense whatsoever. Nothing out of our superstar striker Corey Baird. I, whatever for the effort that he's putting in on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm sorry, I do not want. We're going to go through this again. I do not want my number 9 stuck on defense. I need him to be able to score. So this is one of those situations where you're like, oh, you got to choose. You want offense or defense? Well, I want my offensive striker to be offensive guy. Fuck defense. He can figure out the defensive problem with the other 9 guys on the field. But we need to figure out the offensive problem big time. But like you said, it was ugly in both games. SKC came to us, and uh, I'm glad they did not run that form against Seattle that they and when coming into us just getting that win and living off of that. So it worked out in our favor where we were strong enough on defense. Thor with the friggin' banger, and I think it was only like 2 shots that we took, and one was the banger. And SKC took 17 shots. I don't think much of them were on target, but they were taking a lot of opportunities. It was just between I didn't even want to watch. There's no rewatching the Seattle game for me. That one was just at the 20-minute mark or 28 or 25 or whatever when Bossy got the red card in that instance right there, and it's obviously it wasn't an intentional foul. It was just he was just trying to shield, and just one thing happened, and he scraped that dude's entire leg, and it ended up being a red card. Whatever, who cares? Fluff. That kind of just sucked. He wasn't intentional, so red card killed it though. And then especially with Boss, he's like, dude, I don't think I'm innocent, bro. So uh, then Hector Herrera getting his second red card, and of course his first yellow, I think, was for dissent because he charged the referee and was screaming and yelling. Of course, this referee had the boys riled up the entire game, and I think they had well, sorry, I know he had the stadium riled up because the stadium was chanting, and there was all kind of chants going on, chants that were being told to stop, chants that you suck, ref. So it was just kind of a horrible game, and Dynamo couldn't win for nothing. And then that late stupid goal where Steve Clark comes out, and I think he just got blocked at the last second with his vision, and he didn't make the stop. It went through, and it fell right to that dude's little thigh or whatever, and he put it in the goal. So Seattle got lucky, and then we got lucky against SKCs. But hey, whatever. We move on. We get Minnesota in the next round in the Open Cup coming up in 2 weeks at home. By the way, and we can. I guess we can say, hey, we gave up our first goal at home, and we got our first loss at home. So we're going to defend the hell in the shell. We're going to have to turn it around the next game, whenever that is. Whoever we got at home next. Austin, great. So yeah, it'll be for real.
No, yeah, and just to go back to the game against Kansas City, and you mentioned this right, like Kansas City had 17 shots, and I said it from at the beginning, like they were definitely not like a pretty good offensive team. So like like only four of those shots were on target, which tells you a
Yeah.
lot. And credit to Andrew Charlo because I feel like he did a pretty good job, and he has been doing a pretty good job in the couple of appearances he has so far in the Open Cup for Dynamo. And I know, yeah, like it's pretty much like a Seattle game with Chase Casper being sent off. Like after that early goal for Thor, it pretty much just changed the game plan for Dynamo, and they just have to sit back the entire game, especially the second half. And past that point, it's pretty much just like taking shot after shot after shot, and and try to see if they can build something up, which is pretty hard with 10 players and making those offensive adjustments to favor that. And yeah, it's pretty sad, but I mean, it is what it is. They put themselves in this situation, and it's gonna be up to them to fix that down the road. And unfortunately, it wouldn't be fixed for the next game against Seattle because that's what happened. And it only took us two red cards to break the shutout streak at home, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is now, and yeah, it's just disappointing because Basi, like you could definitely say that he was unlucky for getting Lodito's leg, but that's a red card, whatever you look at it. And Ache Ache descent for sure the first yellow, and the second yellow, obviously like preventing the player to go forward down his line. I think he just held him, and that definitely cannot be argued as a yellow. Well, you can't you can't argue that that's not a yellow. I like to say because that's definitely like a foul depending on the ref you ask, unless you want to like give a caution for like the player that is already on a yellow. But that's pretty much subjective. So not much you can argue there. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm just disappointed overall. Like I said at the beginning, it's just mostly those individual mistakes that cost the team like this big points that are definitely going to be useful over the course of the season. And now they just have to like get out there, like obviously move on from this, and like just try to get those important points, especially on the road, because they now have to like to pretty much create their own luck. And one thing I can say for sure from the Seattle game that I just remembered is that um, I was pretty. Quinones came in pretty late, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the 88th, pretty much when the goal was scored. and he created those chances. Well, not just Quinones, but also Ibrahim Aliyu, and made his MLS debut as well. And like it's just I think we got like a couple chances in towards the dying minutes of the game, and I mean I don't know if you remember the set piece from Quinones. They just like puts it over the bar, and I'm like, come on, just square the ball. Like we need a goal here, please. And yeah, he just skies it, and I was pretty upset about that. And no, yeah, overall, just a pretty bad time. I will see no shots on goal at all for this game, um, for obvious reasons, and like a bad time overall. I want to forget about this game.
So let me ask you about the Open Cup game because this was an opportunity for him to use a mixed roster, which he did, and he used none of the starters, but he did use some of the first teamers. So like Saicedo got to play with the boys. Bartlow actually did get to play. Thor and Sebas got to play. So the formation was a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 this time. So he used that back five. What was your perception of that during that game?
Oh yeah, for the game against SKC, I definitely felt like it was working up until Chase Gasser screwed everything up, and yeah, that goal that Thor got in, like it was pretty great, and the fact that we that well, like the moments leading up to him getting the ball, like early on, that was a pretty good setup, and you could tell that things were clicking right away. But yeah, and I felt like if Chase Gasper didn't get that red, things would have been way different for them. They could have easily dominated this game, but unfortunately, it wasn't like that.
And then Sebas did get the start finally, and Thor would get in the start, and so they did play a two striker system with Brad Smith and Dorsey on one side doing those overlapping runs on the wings. What did you think of Sebas's performance in this game?
Well, he played the whole game, and by the 90th minute, he was completely gassed, and it just made me think about what Ben Olsen has been trying to apply and why he prefers Corey Baird over Sebas. Maybe like he knows that Corey Baird is going to sprint the entire 90 minutes, and maybe it's just like difference in physicality between both players, and yeah, like Sebas, he had like a couple of good flashes in this game, but I don't think like he was pretty substantial for the most part. But yeah, I thought he was pretty decent compared to previous performances this season.
And then in Seattle, now obviously we it's really kind of hard to judge this game at all. So it's not fair at all. But it's still a question that can be warranted for this type of game because you're down a man, which means every man's got to give an extra percentage. So Corey Baird, did it look the same? Well, so obviously I just gave my opinion away. It looked like the same freaking Corey Barrett I get to see every friggin' week, and it's just hustle around and run in a friggin' circle whenever the opponent has the ball on their back line and try to force a bad pass, and then he does nothing offensively. He makes a good pass here and there, or he'll hit the post. Finally, taking a shot that's getting closer. Or at least Lee took a shot, but what about Corey Baird? What was your impression of Corey Baird for the limited time that we actually played 11v11 soccer?
Well, it's pretty much the same old Corey Bear. Like if we still had 11 players, maybe he got a luck opportunity and hit the crossbar again. But yeah, like it's and you said it at the beginning. Obviously, without like all the 11 players, it was gonna be tough for him to create something. And but I also wanted to bring up the fact that I don't know if you remember, but he had like a couple opportunities. He was able to get past a couple defenders, in I want to say like in a couple 1v2 opportunities, if I recall correctly. But
And what did he
but
do with
yeah,
him? What did he do with the ball though?
well, he got past him, but he just passed it back. But yeah,
and,
like
and then the other way, he lost possession. So
yeah,
come on,
oh
bro.
yeah, no, yeah, and like I said, like it could have been different with the 11 players, but at the same time, it's it's tough to tell what is just being with 10 players the entire game, almost the entire game, and then down to nine for like the last few minutes of regulation and stoppage.
Well, I know I could give an update on the hot take on Andreas's Foxtrot's hot take. It's still tied 0-0. So the hot take. We'll go ahead and let you remind people what your hot take is.
Oh no, yeah. I predicted as my hot take that Corey Barrow's going to finish over Sebas Ferreira in the goal tally for the team, and we're 11 games in now, and no goals from either one yet. So that's interesting.
Yeah, actually, it's 12 games in if you count the
12 games.
Two Open Cup games. Yeah, so and neither one of them still scored either way, and Corey Barrett has three fourths more of the time than Sebas has, but to 0-0, But it reminds me. I posted on Twitter and I tagged MLS, and I was like, uh, does your team have a number 9 and has no goals? And I raised my hand, and then Austin, somebody from Austin comes right behind me, and they raise their hand too, and I'm like, they don't, they
That's funny.
that's right, they haven't scored, so it just must be contagious to Texas because we know Fidea for Dallas has scored, or so. Uh, it just must be South Texas then. So, but I don't care what if the bug stays in the 5-1-2. We need to find a striker, a number 9 that can freaking score for us. But you know, it is what it is. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and definitely just good overall to move on from this week. Houston with the win over Sporting KC. Initially, they do advance to the round of 16 in the Open Cup, and they will host Minnesota United on Tuesday, May 23rd, which is pretty neat. We get to host another game, and it's definitely I guess one of those teams I would definitely say it's kind of like our kryptonite team, me being Minnesota because and look, we definitely look way different this year compared to like the last uh, 5 or 4 years that we've been playing Minnesota now, but yeah, things can be different, and well, not only we have the game against Minnesota coming up in the league because we do have 2 games next week, being on the road against Minnesota United, not to be confused with the Open Cup. So that's going to be that Wednesday on the road against Minnesota United, and Saturday on the road in Frisco against FC Dallas. So it's going to be a pretty tough week for Dynamo, and one that they're definitely going to have to get their stuff straight because they're gonna have Ache and Basi suspended for the game against Minnesota, and they'll be back to play against FC Dallas, and they're definitely going to start. But the fact of the matter is that there's going to be a pretty tough road trip, all things considered, and they need the points here because they are they need something to come off this game. I think the game against Seattle, that is.
Well, I hope we get more than 2 points against Minnesota and Dallas. So, but I guess if we come out with 2 draws on the road, but I always like to say, it depends on how we perform. Or were we competitive and we got a point? Were we competitive and we didn't get a point? Or however it works, I don't know. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But 2 road games, like you said, and this is the first Copa Tejas game that counts for the little Texas standings for Copa Tejas too. So this will be the first game for Truth, I guess. But it'll be fun
Well, I
since
think
we're
you mean
there.
El
Since
Capitan
we're
because I think you mean El Capitan because that's for FC Dallas. But yeah, Copa Tejas that was against Austin early in the season.
yeah, but the Copa Tejas standings starts this Saturday against Dallas.
Oh, gotcha. So the game against Austin didn't count. The one
No,
that we had
yeah,
already.
the one that we had already, and then yesterday's game Austin had with Dallas didn't count either because they still play each other twice
Oh,
more as well.
okay. That's
Yeah,
that's kind of silly, but okay.
Yeah, so Austin plays Dallas 3 times, and Austin plays Houston 3 times, and Austin plays Dallas twice. So they just eliminated one game from Austin versus Dallas and Houston versus Austin. So now everybody plays everybody twice. So it's back to the normal 6 game schedule for Copa Tejas, and so now they just got the first ones out of the way. Now the games are for real. Yeah,
Okay, okay. I
yeah.
didn't know that. That's
So that
funny.
so now we have back-to-back Copa Tejas games coming up. If you want to just count the weekends, Saturdays at Frisco, and then we come back home to play Austin at home with throwing in Minnesota in between both those games on the weekend during the weekend. I mean weekday, sorry. But while I'm here, I've got the Open Cup schedule that we were in the round of 32 right there, and as I just kind of look at them and scroll through them, nothing really too interesting. Uh, the MLS teams all were winning, all kind of won. No really cup sets. Charlotte eliminated Orlando. Chicago eliminated St. Louis. Now we got Minnesota because Minnesota eliminated Philadelphia. It was 3-3, and then they ended up doing penalty kicks 7-6. So it looks like that was a pretty friggin' intense game, and Minnesota's on a run. It looks like in this cup right now, so it could be very interesting. And Minnesota did this at home against Philadelphia, though, so now Minnesota has to come on the road to Houston, and hopefully it's going to be a mad Houston whenever they get to that Open Cup game. Red Bulls beat Cincinnati. Let's see, almost a cup set. Monterey Bay tied LAFC 2-2, but lost in penalty kicks 5-4 to LAFC. So boo hoo. That sucks. That wasn't good news. FC Dallas got bounced out by Nashville. New Mexico United couldn't do nothing to Austin. They lost 2-0 as well. See, Galaxy beat Seattle Sounders. So Seattle Sounders are out of the Open Cup. Somehow the Galaxy find a way to win a game. They win 3-1, and they move on. So now you got round of 16. The draws already happened. Red Bull, Cincinnati, Miami versus Nashville, Houston against Minnesota, LAFC versus LA Galaxy got drawn against each other. That's crazy for that friggin' round. Let's see. There's still two. Yep, there's still two USL teams: Pittsburgh Riverhounds and Birmingham. They both get to host games. Columbus and Charlotte, respectively. Austin gets Chicago, and then Colorado gets Real Salt Lake. So that's the
Oh
Open
yeah,
Cup, man. So that's going to be where it's coming down pretty fast. Where they're playing a game every 2 weeks, and so we're down to round of 16 right now, and it'll be the round of 8 if we can win. Whew. So I'm excited.
oh yeah. And Austin and Chicago got drawn into our division, quote unquote. So what that means is that if we're going to face the winner of that game, if we happen to move on. But the game, whoever wins in the Austin Chicago game gets to host the winner of Houston Minnesota.
See, so I didn't actually remember to watch the draw, so I didn't see the draw. But we were in a pool last time, and I thought that's what it was going to be. We were going to play the winner of the Miami versus Miami game, and it did not. It did not end up happening. We just got drawn into another pool to play another game. So did they say that whenever they did the draw, or is that what you're assuming?
No, that's what that was part of the draw. So they had Chicago, Austin, Houston, and Minnesota in the same pool, and for and the game against Austin, the game of Austin against Chicago, they pretty much just gave the winner of that game the hosting rights for the quarterfinal of that game against the winner of Houston versus Minnesota.
How do they get hosting rights, and when everything else has been a draw? That's crazy. But okay, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever. I don't mind going to Austin to watch Houston play.
yeah, I won't say no to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll book my flight right now.
But yeah, it's I want to talk about Dash, but if you wanna finish up with the MLS roundup, if you can, so that way we can talk about Dash because I really want to talk about Dash.
Yeah, man, let's do it. So when I'm sitting here looking at the scores, I'm counting the freaking red cards in the league. So red card was a thing. So obviously a red card in our Open Cup game, but I think there was 9 red cards through the MLS this weekend. And there's not one, as we're recording, we're watching LA play San Jose. There's not a red card. So I think it will just finish the weekend off with 9, which I think they said was a record for red cards. So very contagious. 2 for the Dynamo, obviously. But as far as any games that really stood out yesterday, they called it a rivalry week, but there wasn't that many rivalry games. There was some, I guess. So Montreal played Toronto, and Montreal beat Toronto 2-0. There almost was a fight there at the end of the game. So Toronto took a red card. What? Let's see. The Red Bulls beating NYC 1-0 just for rivalry reference. Sporting KC, though, however, this is a good reference for us playing Minnesota next. Minnesota went to Sporting KC and lost 3-0. So either something clicked or something didn't click for Minnesota. So we're not going to. We'll have to watch a full game replay of that if you want to figure out what happened with Sporting KC, how they were able to get 3 goals and keep Minnesota scoreless, or did just Minnesota fall a friggin' apart and just crap themselves in that game? So I hope we get the team that craps themselves and we can get past Minnesota unscathed, especially with the red cards we're going to be missing. So that means the bench will get to play. Let's see what happens. Let's see what he does. And I hope he does not put Reigns up top. I hope he just puts Reigns in the midfield. That's the other question I got for you. So I'll finish off the scores real quick. Let's see. Dallas went to Austin and got the win. A late winner with Fidea. They won 1-0. So good for them. Woohoo! I didn't care who was going to win that game. I was hoping both could lose, but obviously somebody has to win or somebody has to tie. So a tie would have worked out, but whatever. Dallas beat Austin. Let's see who else. Nobody else I really care about. Nothing cool except for red cards galore. And then standings, man. New England and Cincinnati still holding up the East. And then for the West, it's still going to be Seattle. They got their 3 points. LAFC moved into second because St. Louis got their loss. Dallas is still holding fourth, and we are still in seventh. We got seventh over Vancouver because we got a game in hand because they got 5 goal differential over us. Wait, no, they don't. Goal differential is 3-1, but we got a game in hand, so they put us in seventh. So, yeah, that's the MLS, buddy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh man. No, yeah, that just a lot of information this week, especially from MLS, and it's just unfortunately we were on the bad side of things.
Yeah, and I had a question for you, but I don't even remember what it was now. So I know it was.
Was it about the broken reins or?
Yeah. Actually, it was so good. I was like, I know it was a good one. Dang, LA just scored on San Jose to make it 2-0 in extra time. But oh yeah, so Brooklyn Reigns. So all right, so obviously we're missing Ache again, so we need a position in the midfield, and we're going to be missing Bossy up top on the left. So we need a winger. You can put Franco on the left and start somebody on the right, or whatever you want to do. So last time, what happened was Salcedo got to start in the midfield, and Reigns got to start up top and play on the wing. And Reigns hasn't looked good the 2 days that he's played in the up at the wing, but he's looked good when he played in the midfield. So what I'm hoping he does is he plays Reigns in the midfield, and then he plays either Quinones or he goes ahead and plays Aliu up on the other spot. It's probably most likely it'll be Quinones, and just go with that. Or yeah, because that's only really his 2 options. So Saseo Reigns or Aliu and. Um, Quinones, or do you start Salcedo and both Reigns?
At this point, it has to be Saicedo and Reigns in the midfield, and I'm also team. I'm I'm definitely team Reigns midfield, but I'm also team no Reigns on forward. No forward Reigns because he's been looking pretty awful. Like just being as a winger. Well, I want to see awful, but rather not producing as much as he would being on midfield. But well, yeah, good Brooklyn Reigns in midfield. Please don't move it forward.
Okay, so Brooklyn Reigns. All right, good deal. All right, let's just move over to the Dynamo. That was kind of annoying. Let's get on to the good old girls.
Yes. Oh my goodness. On the dash. Yes. what a win, man! If you didn't catch the game, the Dash came back and beat Portland Thorns 2-1 in the second half. You could definitely guess that the first half was horrible, but the second half was beautiful. And yes, he has a tale to have the good old classic. I would definitely say because that first half, I was so upset. I was so emotional. Like I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was seeing because it just looked like the Dash were just like scrambling defensively. They didn't know what their players were, or at least their markers, and they were producing like anything in the first half. The second half was just like a flip of the switch. Like it was just a combination of the players that were subbed in over time and just the press overall. Like I definitely felt like the press and those kinds of adjustments made a difference overall.
Well,
And yeah, it was great.
speaking of adjustments, before you even get into how you feel about the game, so before the game even started, we got news, and we kind of heard this early on Saturday morning before the even before I even made the or sorry early Friday morning that we were going to be missing Ordonez and Price Sock from the game because of protocol or health sickness. So now we were wondering what that meant for the lineup because Ryan Gary's is still hurt. So you can't just move Salmon over and replace Ordonez with Gary, and you're fine. So as far as the lineup, I'll run through that real quick, and then I'll let you get your opinion on it. But as far as the back line, because now you don't have Price Hawk, you're going to go ahead. Okay, Jacobs gets a start right there, and then Katie Lynn ended up getting her start. So it looks like she's back. Chappie on the left, Idasco on the right. That doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. So you got those four in the back right there, and then when Price Hawk should be ready to go next week. So we'll see who gets to take the bench right there. But it looks like that's your five main core girls right there for your back line. Midfield was Vigiano and Smith, of course. Schmidt, but uh, we had a question of who was going to get to play the cam with Ordonez not getting to play, and we had to make some moves. So uh, is it going to be Joel Anderson? Who's it going to be? Well, Sophie Hurst is the one who ended up getting the call, and she's been showing pretty good this season to start as well. Barbara Oliveri, your girl. Hey, what's up? She
Yeah,
she ended up getting the start. I know you were happy to see that, and I was actually happy to see that too because I liked how she's been playing. Sanchez on the left, and then Salmon, of course, got put into the striker role, which we knew that was gonna happen. But that was the lineup changes and the adjustments they had made because of the sicknesses and the injuries that they're dealing with right now. Now, however, I will say Groom was on the bench, so she actually was suited up. So it looks like she's ready to
yeah,
come back and get back into fitness. So we'll just see what that does and who that does because Joelle Anderson's been getting the cam start and she didn't get it this time, but she did come off the bench and then get a freaking goal. So, I mean, the cam position's up for grabs and all. It looks like all them girls are fighting pretty well. It looks like all the girls are wanting to play some soccer right now. But what were your thoughts on the lineup and the replacement players?
no, just going back to Ordonez and Prysock, I was pretty much worried about this because they're our key players and missing them against Portland. It was a big deal for me, and thankfully I was proven wrong in this game. And there's definitely, like you just said, they're definitely just ready to come in and play some soccer. So just let the game play for itself, and they pull it off. I mean, Ordonez, she is definitely our main offensive weapon for sure, at least so far this season. And I mean, Price Hog, they're gonna miss her defensively. She's gonna be our she's pretty much one of our main pieces as well there. But yeah, just having them out like at such a short notice because I think the news came out on Thursday or Wednesday, but still, it was a couple days before the game even started, and I was just disappointed. But oh well, it is what it is, and they should be back pretty soon. But I was also surprised that Barb got the start on the wing. I thought that was interesting, but I was also sad because she got subbed out at the 29th minute, and I was like, she got her first MLS start, and she got subbed out for an injury, and I hope she's okay because I'm pretty sad because of that.
Yeah, especially when you're getting your opportunity in the NWSL, and I don't know if we can call her a rookie or not. It is her first season in the NWSL, but she's not coming out of college. So, but that sucks. Hopefully, like it's just a knock, and she'll be ready to go next week. But uh, or don't is expected to be back, so she might be back to the bench anyways. But let's see her get some time and continue to improve. So hopefully, like you said, that injury wasn't bad, or if it was, quick recovery so she can get back in there. Because I like the way she was playing, and she's got a kind of low gravity, but she's a hustler, and we I kind of like this roster, and these rookies are coming in and they're looking pretty well when the time and effort that they're getting. And so looks like Sam Lady's putting things together, and for the Dash to get a friggin' home win, a home friggin' win is just
A home win.
yes, dude, a home win. Crazy for us saying that for the Dash, but it just feels good. So I like that for the Dash, and I'm so happy for the Dash, and just it was a good win, and overall the girls looked well, they played well. Of course, Portland got that goal early, and Caitlin may still be a little missing a little bit, but it's okay. Nothing that she really did wrong. She just the ball made it past her, and that girl was just kind of sitting right there and just put the ball in the net. Nothing Jane Campbell could do about it on that one. So, but like I said, luckily the girls fought back, got those two friggin' goals. Woo! And Salmon. What the heck?
Mm,
What the heck, bro?
yeah.
What the heck? I'm glad their keeper had a brain fart right there because she couldn't make up a run. She wanted to come out, or she wanted to hold her line, and Salmon was like, and she just took the shot. And I think the keeper guessed the wrong way because you kind of saw her move the other way, but then it was just like, okay, well, I can't stop that now. So, and Salmon just died. There's no celebration when you're what are you 3, 6, 9, 10 games in. 10 games in, you're getting your first freaking goal. Yeah, there's no celebration. You just go to the ground and you lay there. And I was watching the celebration. Maria Sanchez just came down and she laid right next to her, but she didn't look at her. She looked to the opposite direction. She was just laying there. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? But
Yeah.
it was great. It was great to watch to see the Dash actually get that win. And like I said, I actually went to that game, so it was just fun to be there in that environment. And even though there wasn't much in the environment, but it was still pretty fun.
Yeah, and just going back to the lineup, um, the thing with Barbara, obviously she was subbed out because of the injury in the first half, and that was pretty much when Michelle Losey stepped in to replace her. And I definitely feel like things changed with Michelle Losey, and because she was just keeping the pressure up, and uh, I want to say like the first half it wasn't obvious, but like the second half you've seen it right away, and it's unfortunate she wasn't able to score in this game because I felt like she would have. And well, not only that, but also Joel Anderson stepping up at the start of the second half, to come in and score the first goal, at least to equalize the game and turn things around. And just past that goal, like the pressure just kept coming in, and Emily Salmon with a beautiful run, and just getting past those defenders and kind of like you said, the goalkeeper. It was kind of like a pretty unfortunate just being that type of situation, and just screwing that up to give the dash to give Houston the lead. but but yeah, like I mean, Ebony Salmon just took her opportunity. She buried it in the back of the net, and not much to complain here. But yeah, like the players were just dogpiling on her, which is pretty nice to see, and just that camaraderie, them just being the chemistry I liked, at least. But yeah, it was a fun game, particularly the second half. I wouldn't watch the first half per se, but yeah, the second half probably I would. Yeah.
Well, and then how about for Natalie Jacobs and uh, Katie Lynn and the job they did against Sophie Schmidt because it You know, Sophie Smith really doesn't show emotion whenever she's losing. She just looked kind of like just dead. She was just chilling, but she didn't do nothing this game, and that's a that's a top USA women's player right there. So and we're playing friggin' Portland, the defending champions of this league. Who we went to Portland and we tied 1-1. So just amazing the way these friggin' girls played yesterday, man. And then somebody actually sent me a question and asked this already, and I'm like, it's just one friggin' game, but it did get me thinking. So good question, but Ordonez is the problem, and then that's how he worded it to me. So Ordonez is the problem, and I immediately said no, 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 no. But however, at the beginning of the season, we were trying to predict the lineups. I did say Salmon needs to be the top striker, and Ordonez can play right behind her, and they play 1-1. I don't want to see Ordonez on the ring, obviously, but so something just to think about because Salmon was more central, still looked dangerous, still making her runs, but obviously got her goal. But it was only one game too, so we'll see. Salmon, she may start back on the wing on the next week and score 2, 3 freaking goals, and it's just all she needed was that one goal to break open. So, what do you think from that one game that was missing Ordonez from the striker role and the way Salmon played the striker that game?
I mostly just think that Simon was just on the groove, and you could say that maybe in the second half, Portland was just like not able to contain the pressure, and things could have been different with Simon compared to previous games so far this season. And I wouldn't necessarily say that the Ordonez is the problem, but rather that um, as Simon's consistency, if it's just that is that mostly like the issue to take into account because Ordonez, she we see the product so far. She's got her goals already, and she's definitely willing to produce with this team. And I think it's just like a matter of everyone just staying, or rather like in the same wavelength, or rather being in the same tempo, just in part of chemistry. And I don't know, yeah, like it's this game. This game was pretty interesting for that reason because Ordonez was gone and Simon was just by herself, and with in this right situation, things went the right way for her and for the team at least.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would still like to see him play like that with Salmon up top at the 9 and Ordonez directly behind her. But I want her playing the high cam, kind of like where. Sorry, what's our Colombian friend from the Dynamo that's not longer with us? I done forgot his name because I don't think he doesn't belong here, but people still fight for him. God,
Manotas.
no, 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 the one from last year. Uh, God,
Oh, because we had Castilla.
our
Well,
our
that's
pl-
obviously as a kind of player.
our playmaker, Colombian.
Oh, Daryl Quintero. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like, damn.
yeah. So I kind of want uh, Ordonez to play high, as high as Salmon, kind of like Quintero was holding Sebas's hand last year, and it just kind of felt like he was in her way a little bit. But you know, I think it works out because Salmon can play that central role and just be ready to make those runs. And you put Maria Sanchez on one side, Ryan Gary's when she comes back, you put her on one side, and you solve your cam problem at the same time. And if you need to make adjustments, and you put Salmon out wide, and you bring in Shea Groom or you got play. You got a lot of players. You got a lot of options now. So it is just interesting. Just brought us some curious questions just from that one game. But we got the girls will probably be back this coming weekend against at home against San Diego. So uh, it's Salmon back out to the wing, and it's like it never happened. Probably.
No, yeah, and I think the dash game. I think it's on the road, but yeah, it's I think you're right though, like, in the sense that it's the it's I just hope that they still play that the same way.
Yeah, if I remember right, though, it's the Dash are at home while we are in friggin' Dallas.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, they're at home. You're right.
Yeah. So we're playing friggin', which sucks because we're playing friggin' up in FC Frisco because I've chosen to go to that game, and the Dynamo are at home in Houston playing at the exact same time. So obviously that game will be a rewatch game, which sucks, but whatever.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I'm big win for the Dash. The 2-1 home win, pretty rare, and they just have to keep up with that consistency at home because they need those home wins, and it's just like the opposite with Dynamo. Like they get the wins at home and not the road, but the Dash it's pretty much the opposite. And, and yeah, before we move on to the steamroll that was the Dynamo 2 game, if you want to get us in the NWSL roundup, so we can close the Dash out.
Yeah, sure, man. So I've got on the screen right there the standings, so you can see the standings as I go through the run through the scores. Of course, there's only 12 teams, so there's only 6 games a weekend. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Right, it hadn't popped up on my side yet. No,
Yeah, I
but
got it.
you do okay. So as you see right there, Racing Louisville got the win with Chicago 3-0. Houston Dash with the big upset. I mean, and even when you were listening to that game, because I went back and watched the second half to just to rewatch that awesome friggin' half. The announcers were even like the Portland Thorns are the goddesses of the universe, and the Houston Dash are just
Right.
doing this and doing that. They're just doing so well. Oh my God, this is so
Yeah.
Portland Thorns, Portland Thorns, Portland Thorns. Like it's just kind of come on, man, Jesus. But whatever, it is what it is. So got everybody on the standings right there, but. We got the win, which was huge. That was Portland's first regular season loss, I should say, because they lost the Challenge Cup game to San Diego Wave already. But so that was a huge. And so we got a win and we got a tie against Portland Thorns already this season. And I'm pretty sure we still play them again. I have to look at the schedule to see when and where we play them, and just kind of breezing through. I don't see it right off the
No,
top.
because we already played them on the road. We
Yeah.
already played them on the road at home, so I don't think we're gonna make it end the season
Yeah,
unless we go
so
to playoffs.
that's it. So good deal. We got through this team, got through
Yeah.
the front runners. Washington Spirit with another win. They go to Angel City and win 1-0. So freaking Washington Spirit. North Carolina Curse beat OL Reign 1-0. San Diego Wave beat KC Current 2-0. And then Gotham tied Orlando Pride 0-0. So if you're looking at the standings right there that I've got shared on the screen, you can still see that the Washington Spirit, who are undefeated with no losses right there, and holding up first place. So good for them. Good for them. Whoop de doo. Like I care. No, I'm just kidding. They got 15 points. Oil Reigns in second with 13. Gotham with friggin' 13, holding up third. So friggin' Gotham with 13. But with that though, because Portland got 0 points, that knocked them out of first place, and they fell all the way to friggin' fourth with 12 points now. And we're sitting in seventh. We're one spot out of the playoff line with 9 points to North Carolina's 10. So Dash still got some work to do. They're 2 wins, three draws, and 2 losses for the season. So if we can just find a little bit of a groove, man, something going on there, that you know Dash can figure it out. But like we said, they host the San Diego Wave in Houston this weekend on Saturday at 7:30, and that's an exact start time as the Houston Dynamo playing up in FC Frisco. So anybody who's not traveling to the Frisco game and you're not going to the Houston game at the stadium, put both your TVs up. That's your
Right.
challenge.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know it. and yeah, with that we can just also go ahead and get into Dynamo 2. I wasn't able to watch this game, but I had the updates on my phone, and I saw that Dynamo 2 were steamrolling around Monarchs. I don't know if you can agree to that, but 3-0 sounds like a steamroll in a way.
dude. It was a steamroll. I mean, this like it's nothing like that we've seen this year, but it's what we saw last year. So it. Even though Kenny Bundy says this team has been playing better than last year's team has been playing, but we just been falling apart and failing and doing this here and doing that there. It's just kind of it's just kind of crazy. But tonight, look, it was just one of those dominating performances. And since I've got it pulled up and I'm just kind of looking at it just as a reminder, man, I'll tell you, 65% possession to 35% for the Monarchs. Shots, 25-5. Okay, that's that.
I saw that.
That's just
Yeah,
that's just shots. That's not even shots on goal. So 25-5. So you're getting 25 shots. And granted, remember this is a home game. Uh, that just tells you right there that they must be pushing. On goal, shots on goal. Dynamo had 10, Real Monarchs had 0. So that right there tells you that Real Monarchs were not even just any kind of threat. They weren't doing anything at all. Then the stats right here are telling the truth. You look at these stats right here, you're like, dang, okay, well they must got their butts kicked. They did get their butts kicked, and the 3-0 was probably uh, let's take it easy on them score because it's not like it was 3-0 in 15 minutes in the game, but it was just nuts how much Dose was done. 17 freaking corner kicks, dude. 17 corner kicks. 17 corner kicks. That's freaking
that's crazy.
dude. Yes, dude. That's just how much. And I mean, they had 35 clearances to our four. To our four. It's just like besides the referee was horrible. I mean, like this guy was just like horrible. I mean, horrible. I'm not kidding. Horrible, bro. Like horrible. I could not stand this guy. Even he just even gave the impression that it was his first game or he wasn't an experienced referee, which is crazy to get to that level because you have to have a million games under your belt by then. But you know. The whistle was being blown late, so like you could have fallen out of your chair right now.
Really,
Tweet,
really.
tweet. Yeah, then I would have blown my whistle because I thought about it and like, oh yeah, dude fell down, so he must have been fouled. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like that. But man, at least it was dominating. Panabell or Panabaker or whatever the hell that dude's name is, the keeper, he got the start tonight because I think Valdez is out on keeper duty for international because I think the World Cup's coming up.
Savior. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You told me that Pannenberg before we started recording the episode. Like Pannenberg was just had like a pretty boring night, even though with the start. And I was looking at the stats for that game, and there were 0 saves recorded.
yeah,
So I can just picture Andrew Pannenberg just picking lilies on the field because that's so crazy though. Like
dude.
they didn't get any shots on goal. They only had like 5 shots total. So you could try to imagine how bored Pannenberg was.
No, he had a teacup party by himself. So it was just like there was nothing to do. He didn't have to make any saves. It was just it was crazy. It was Maples and Morano in the back right there for the center backs, and they didn't let nothing go by, nothing at all. Gasper played on the left. Gasper had an actual good game.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
but like I said, Monarchs were a horrible team to begin with. So it doesn't mean that Gasper was really any good. So you know, I wouldn't have started Gasper. I would have been like, "Dude, you just got a red card, bro. You can't play." So,
Right.
so but, uh, but as far as everybody else, man, the team looked good. Diego Gonzalez is still looking like a superstar,
Yeah.
having an excellent time of his life. He scored the second goal, I think it was. Did he? No, the third goal. Sorry. Yeah, he scored the third goal because. Oh yeah, that's what was interesting. I don't know if you took a look at the way the lineup was. Did you?
I didn't see the structure. No, I was only able to see the names on the lineup.
So it was still the typical 4-3-3, but with like I said, Gasper started as the left back this time, but he wanted to start Vanderkers, so Vanderkust got to start as the left wing, which was interesting to me. He's been
Oh
playing
yeah.
the left back. Now he's playing the left wing up top with, Ezekiel Soto, who got the second start in a row, and Papa Ndoye playing up there at the top right. So that was interesting. So that was the only real changes was Gasper left back, Vander Kuss left wing, and everybody else was the typical starters that's been getting to play. Juarez on the right side this time for right back, and that was pretty much it.
No, yeah, I saw that. Vanderkos, like you mentioned, he started on the wing, like up top, not back. And yeah, Six Soto had to leave the game at the 14th minute, and Beto Avila came in, and he pretty much just tore uh, the Real Monarchs apart because he got a goal and 2 assists, and which is crazy.
I wouldn't say he tore him up because remember I corrected myself a while ago. I was like, it was the Real Monarchs. It's not like they're anything decent. Now, come on. So let's explain how. Oh yeah, you didn't see the game, which means you
No,
probably
yeah, I was saying it was
you
yeah,
probably didn't see the highlights yet then either. Okay, so
not yet, yeah.
Beto Avila, how did he score his first goal? He
Tell me about it.
They passed it back to the keeper, and then the keeper held onto the ball too long, and Beto Avila came up and took it from him and just went straight into the goal.
Hey, look, man. Um, you miss 100% of the shots you don't make, okay?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Beto Avila had to do what he had to do, so that's a goal. That's a goal for Beto Avila.
Right. That's the Corey Baird goal right there. It's just Corey Baird.
Corey Bird.
Yeah. Just Corey Baird can't pull it off. Yeah. Coach Daddy believes in him though, but so that was the first goal. So so he did get his goal, but that was his goal. He stole it from the keeper, but that's the keeper's fault, and the keeper's an idiot for he had a brain fart or whatever. The second goal, yes, Bata Avila was given a pass. He turned and he found Vanderkuss over there, and Vanderkuss put the ball in the net. So good job, Vanderkuss with a goal play. It's getting his first start as the left wing. And then later in the game, Diego Gonzalez just placing it in the corner and getting his goal. So it was a good performance, but with every good performance becomes one bad note, and it becomes the note that we're getting used to now here in Houston for some reason because we have three professional soccer teams in Houston with Dynados, Dash, and Houston Dynamo, and now all three have had a lightning strike within the week with a delay.
I hate the weather.
Yes,
Yeah,
bro. Yes, and one lightning strike is a 30-minute delay after every lightning strike, and it's within 8 mile radius from the stadium. So, and they've got the equipment that tells you and all this good stuff. This lightning strike was 4 miles away, is what we ended up hearing because they were you could hear over the camera because because the cameraman didn't evacuate. He stood there and they had to come evacuate him. So you could hear him talking right there in front of the camera, but. So for every strike is 30 minutes. So there must have been a couple other strikes after that first one because it took them till like 8:45 to get started, I think. So, that put them not too far behind. Not too far behind. So maybe it was just one of the extra strike after that first strike. But yeah, man, I'm getting sick of these friggin' delays, bro. Yeah, we just want to can we just play the game? That's what we're going there for. Feel sorry for the people
just
that
put a
just show up.
roof.
But yeah, bro, yeah, everything needs to
Just
go
put a
on.
roof over the stadium already. Come on.
Yeah, can we get Bolo from Capsule Corp and just give us a magical dome that we can build if weather is permitting?
No, yeah. Honestly, like
Yeah. So, but I mean, so that was your down to dose, bro. Like I said, 25 freaking shots. The score could have been a lot higher than 3-0. You would think Papa and Doy would have went off. It looks like he was having a good game, but maybe I think the left back on that side was doing a good job of keeping Papa and Doy from scoring. The keeper made some saves. Of course, he had to make some saves if you're going to be taking that many shots. So the team looked good overall. There was nothing really bad about it. Just that referee liked to give in cards, so there was like 7 yellows between the two teams. Oh yeah, they did take a red though, so we did see another red card. So every game that we saw this weekend that involved the men had a red card in it. At least this time it wasn't our own boys. But yeah, man. So that was Dose. They had a good time. They got a win. They're happy with it. They're gonna sleep. They're gonna sleep well tonight because they get to travel to. Do they?
Yeah, they're facing North Texas next on the road in Arlington.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. See, I'm not updating my book with the scores, so I'm like, hold on, they're not playing that team, man. They're not playing that team. But yeah. So yeah, we get to. They get to follow us. Maybe the bus will drop us off and go pick them up on Saturday night when they bring us back from the game.
Yeah, to first go to Arlington and then Houston. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, at North Texas, well, they got back to back. They got at North Texas, and then they host Austin. So that's going to be fun
yeah,
for Dynamo and for Dose. So both our teams play each other. We don't get to play each other back to back head double headers. So it's up to you if you want to watch them. That'll be interesting. But yeah, man. So Dash looked. I mean, not Dash. Dose looked pretty freaking good tonight, and they put it on it. And too bad Soto got hurt earlier because I was excited when I saw that Soto was getting a start again, and I wanted to see what he could do, but he didn't get the time because he got hurt and had to come out.
yeah. That sucks, but yeah, good win for for Dynamo too. A big 3-0 win at home, and which we need those now, especially for like the past couple of performances that have been pretty disappointing. But if you can get us to the MLS Next Pro roundup to close things out.
Yeah, dude. Let's see. So Austin finally friggin' lost, and they lost to Colorado in Colorado, 1-0. North Texas ended up getting a tie, 0-0, if I remember correctly. So yeah. So this was a good win this weekend for Houston. So what it did for Houston is it pushed them up to eighth place overall in the standings with 11 points. North Texas drops to seventh, getting 13 points. Sporting KC has sixth place with 14 points. So Vancouver with 14, Tacoma with 14. So all we got to do is just get another win, and we get back into the playoff line right there. Colorado Rapids, with their win against Austin, they're in first place with 22 points over Austin with 19 points. So that was Austin's first loss of the season as well. So they're 5-1-3. Colorado's 7-0-1. So, and that's no losses right there. So woo, crazy man. But LAFC2, their second team. It's crazy how good their first team is, but their second team's the worst team in the friggin' league. So don't know how that works, or if you'd be happy about your academy style. But maybe they're calling their academy players up. They're that good and just keeping their first team that good. But so that's your next pro score check.
Oh no, yeah. It's particularly this weekend. I'm glad that all three teams got their own wins, and the Dynamo did something weird in in the last league game, and I'm definitely just glad, mostly glad that the Dash and Dynamo 2 took care of business in their own way, and I'm still upset with Dynamo. Please stop getting red cards.
I think my first wish would be please score. So I'm gonna go with that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
just score. We can find a way to stop getting red cards, but can it just be please score?
no, yeah, that's the main one for sure. No, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and hopefully they keep hearing our prayers to please less red cards, more goals. Everyone should keep that in mind. This is gonna be your homework for tonight, please. Um, yeah, just keep praying for those goals and less red cards, and yeah, stay noodle.
H is up.